Let's get started with number 25. 25. Let's go back to the GBA days, the Game Boy Advance. Let's go to a franchise that solidified its place for me at a very young age. Pokemon Emerald. Emerald capitalized on everything after Ruby and Sapphire. The battles, the difficulty gap, sprites, the ability to battle both evil teams, Aqua and Magma, the ability to catch all three legendaries in the same game. Honestly, this game just capitalized on everything, solidified Pokemon as a franchise to me, and there aren't many other games in that franchise that I can hold to the same standard as this one. Number 24, NBA Street V2. PlayStation 2 days, man. If you were there, you were there. If you weren't, I'm sorry for you. This game was the basketball game at the time. EA Big was doing it big. Street games were the wave. Street Volume 2 dropped. The unique roster of characters, the dynamic gameplay of over-the-top basketball moves. Like, it was NBA Jam, but with stylistic direction, musical direction. It was like the Street Fighter Third Strike of Street Fighter 2, if that makes sense. But honestly, you really just had to be there. This was the party basketball game. Hear me out. NBA 2K and NBA Live were very good basketball games, but NBA Street Volume 2 went platinum in a variety of hoods. That's all I'm gonna say. 23. This is niche. This is funny, but it's niche. If you haven't played it, I feel bad for you again. Shrek Super Slam. Bruh. Quirky, enjoyable, all the Shrek characters in it. It was the Smash Brothers of Shrek. I literally cannot explain what made this game so fun outside of it being a party game with Shrek characters and all the characters having unique abilities, but you just had to be there. It was literally one of those party games that we stayed up playing all night, all day, 24 hours. Hey man, you want to come over, play Shrek Super Slam? Yes, I am in there every time. Puss in Boots, Shrek, Donkey, Gingerbread Man, Pinocchio. Bro, all the characters have fun movesets, abilities, like the mini games, like everything about this game was fun. Like the mechanics were pretty simple to grasp. And honestly, even though the mechanics were simple, it still let you be strategic. You could do combos. They had interactive environments, special attacks. It actually had depth, and the matches were entertaining. So honestly, if y'all again have not played this game, I definitely recommend it. Like it even still holds up to this day. All right, number 22. Going back to the PlayStation era, Def Jam Fight for New York. Look, man, if you haven't played it, I don't know what to say. This is another one of those games that went platinum. If you liked wrestling games, Raw vs SmackDown, things like that, this was that. But with super special moves, over the top story modes, and rappers. Rappers and female artists, and shoot, Danny Trejo. Why was Danny Trejo in that game? I don't know. But just random ass dudes fighting each other. The soundtrack was fire. Like, the game just hit on all cylinders. You could create a character. The created character was actually one of the most in-depth character creators for a game during that time frame. Like, honestly, it's just another one of those games where you had to be there. Number 21. Alright, hear me out, man. When I was in college, I went to go get my laptop from Best Buy, and I was asking the Geek Squad, hey man, like what are some good games to play on your PC? And it was like, hey man, look, League of Legends. I said, I've heard about it, I've heard about that, I've heard of World of Warcraft, and I was contemplating between downloading one of the two. League of Legends is one of the best games I've ever played. It was my introduction to MOBAs. It branched me off into Smite and Pokemon Unite, and I was extremely unhealthy during this time. Peak Discord mod physique. I got no sun. I was in the house 18 to 24 hours a day playing League of Legends. When I did not have class in college, I was playing League of Legends. I was Ashe and Echo all day long. Bruh, if you've never played a MOBA, this should be your introduction to it. Smite is more of a overworld, like you get a closer look at your character type MOBA. Pokemon Unite is very similar to League of Legends, but League of Legends just has the lore, it has the characters, it has the abilities, it has the depth. Like, it was literally my introduction to the genre, and I was honestly not disappointed. I had to give it up strictly because of my PC issues, but I'm glad that it did because it made me a healthier individual. And that's why it deserves 21. Alright, I think we're on 20. Number 20, Call of Duty Black Ops. Call of Duty heads, this is the only Call of Duty on my list. For two reasons. Multiplayer, zombies. Dog, jungle, beret, Nuketown, and zombies. Like, that's all you needed. Hit the boys up. Hey man, you trying to run some zombies? Hey man, you trying to run some some Nuketown, some TDM? That is all you had to say, and you knew you were in for a good night. I'm just gonna move on because there's nothing more to say. Number 19. I did not play this game until PS5 era. This was the second game I ever streamed once I became a content creator. And I only played the remake, never played the original, Shadow of the Colossus. Honestly, one of the best action adventure games I've ever played. Hence why it's here. You and your horse and your blade just go around killing titans that have different infused pieces of your lady's soul in it. And you take down these titans to get pieces of her soul back. That's the gist. You just gotta play it for the vibes. There are a few RPGs on this list, so I can't explain the multiplayer or nostalgia factor of it. It's just, the gameplay is fun. The titans feel like puzzles. You really have to figure out and be tactical about how to take those things down. Again, the music is nice. And the gameplay is fairly simple. The gameplay is just, hey, use everything that you have at your disposal to take these things down and just enjoy the story while you're doing it. One of the best straight to the point games that I've played in my lifetime. Number 18. Let's move to the GameCube era of games. And let's start off with our first kart racer, Mario Kart Double Dash. Again, one of those games where you had to be there. Actually, I'm just gonna stop saying that because at this point, every one of these games to me is like, bruh, you really had to be there to know my experience of it. It was a blast. First time a game introduced two characters on a kart racer where you could switch between characters to use their unique abilities. There were unique maps, items. Honestly, just the fact that you could switch between your characters. You didn't have to choose between your first and second favorite characters. You could just choose between any combination. You could choose your favorite and one that may have had more synergy with them. Honestly, it made Mario Kart more strategic, in my opinion, outside of introducing new karts themselves. How Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has the different tires and karts and things you can put on it. No, just choose two characters, get busy, let's get racing. But yeah, honestly, that game, outside of one other game on this list, solidified the kart genre. Alright, number 17. I still get disappointed thinking about this one. I will never forgive Respawn for not bringing this back, but when they do, I will love them forever. This fell so Apex Legends could run. Titanfall 2 introduced the Titan mechanic and seamless transitions between Titans and pilots. The single player campaign, A+. The multiplayer, A+. The customization of the Titans, the abilities of the Titans, the guns, the gameplay, the smoothness, the online, A+. Honestly, this game could still have support today. I'm not even sure if it does. If it does, I might go play it after this video. But this, I could move it up, but I'm perfectly fine with it being here. Only reason I'm not is because Titanfall 3 expanded on it, and I want them to bring it back. So I'm holding off on moving it up my list simply for those purposes. And honestly, the vibes were just immaculate. In general, this is my second favorite shooter of all time. Number 16, Paper Mario. This game introduced me to role-playing games. This, Super Mario 64, Pokemon Puzzle League, Pokemon Stadium, and 2 other games that are on this list are the first games that I had on my Nintendo 64. The induction of traditional Mario enemies like Boo, Goomba, Paracoopa, just the ability to play with your traditional Mario enemies as party members in an original Mario storyline, like, and have it be fun. It created my love of turn-based games. There are more than a few turn-based games on here. So y'all that don't like turn-based games, y'all need to start playing some single-player games, man. I'm a single-player turn-based propagandist. Let's go ahead and get into 15 though. Let's talk about my introduction into the Tekken series. I did not play Tekken 1, 2, Tag 2, 3, anything before 4. 4 was my introduction to the Tekken series. I saw that cool ass nigga on the title and I was like, bro, I gotta cop it. Like, I never expected myself to have as much fun with a fighting game as I did with this one, primarily. Honestly, just the entire roster, the character select, the combat, everything was perfect. Everything was literally perfect. Like, this one game introduced like 4 to 5 of my favorite fighting game characters ever. Like Hwoarang, Jin, Steve, Kazuya. Those are like, they're all in my like top 10 of fighting game characters, which is crazy to me. Marduk. Literally amazing roster, amazing story, Tekken Force. Like the single player content, the multiplayer content, everything in this game to me is perfect. A lot of people, from what I've seen reviews on, they had some issues with the theme and the roster, and they also like future installments way more, but this introduced me to this series and I'm very grateful for it. Listen here, I'm a fighting game enthusiast. You're gonna see 2 more fighting games on here and you're gonna like them. Look, I'm a fighting game enthusiast. This is my favorite NetherRealm game that they've ever made. MK vs DC, no. Mortal Kombat, no. Shaolin Monks, no. Injustice 2. Injustice 1, no. This game really set it off for me, man. Dog, every character in this game had fun gameplay, fun combos, interactive destructible maps. It was just fun. The multiplayer was fun, the online was good. The DLC, like, they put the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in here The bad thing about it was that they put 2 Mortal Kombat characters in here. I was very upset that they put Raiden in this game, but this Sub-Zero is the best rendition of any Sub-Zero in any Mortal Kombat game. You could play any Mortal Kombat game and play Sub-Zero, and you could play this game and play Sub-Zero, and you will literally say to yourself, this is the best Sub-Zero has ever been, gameplay wise. In general, just a completely fun experience. Burned too many hours on it. Got hella toxic with the Xbox chat. It got real racial in there, but honestly, one of the best experiences I've ever had on a fighting game. Solidified here. Number 13. I'm gonna bang y'all with 3 RPGs in a row. Let's go with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is my favorite out of the Xenoblade games. I honestly did not know how to feel about the gameplay initially, because my first entry into the series was 2. Then I went back and played 1, and then I played 3. 3 has a amazing story. Great side quests. The world looks good. And hear me out. This game is on the Switch. I'm not gonna say there are very few games that look amazing on the Switch, but the Switch is interesting hardware. It doesn't run the same AAA titles graphically, if that makes sense. This game looks amazing on the Switch. Little to no frame rate drops. The combat is actually very fun once you actually start getting things going, because at the beginning I was like, nah. When I started playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I was like, nah, this ain't it, bro. But once you actually get deeper into the mechanics and you start adding more people to your party and start using the blade system, man, this is one of the most fun gaming experiences you can have. But that's only if you are into turn-based games. This one is one of the exceptions where it's like, bro, if you're not into turn-based games, you're not gonna like it. And it's crazy because this is an action-adventure game. It's an action-adventure turn-based game, so you're attacking through other monsters attacking. Like, you're going to take damage, but you're going to be attacking at the same time. It's not attack here, then get attacked, attack here, then get attacked. No, you're always attacking. So honestly, if you don't like this series, I don't know what to say to you. If you haven't played it, I still don't know what to say to you outside of I recommend it. I recommend this one specifically, and it honestly can be played as a standalone title. You don't need the previous 2 games for experience purposes. It does help, but it can be played as a standalone title. Number 13. Super Mario Sunshine. Dog. Y'all can hate me all you want. Yes, I have Sunshine above Galaxy, Galaxy 2, Super Mario 64, Super Mario World 3. Bro, hate me all you want. Sunshine went platinum on my GameCube. I played the heart and soul out of this game. I recently played it on my Twitch channel also. Not too recent, but it was like a few months ago. Dog, it still holds up. This game does not miss. If I could put 3D All-Stars on here, I would. Actually, but that would be cheating. That would also be cheating. I feel like if I'm putting a collection with multiple games on there, then I'm actually cheating. They could release a $60 game with 3 basically ports of old games. I don't care. I was satisfied. I'm running 3D All-Stars in the ground simply because of that. It would have been nice if they gave us Galaxy 2 on there, however, but still. The gameplay, fun. The camera got better from 64. The bosses, fun. Like, everything, like the overworld was fun. You had stars in the overworld. Honestly, them and the mechanics with Flood, and honestly, the story was perfectly fun too. Mario crashing on a vacation and having to clear his name by just going to these different parts of the overworld islands and clearing his name. Just in general, so fun. Each level has a different dynamic to it, different mechanics. You get different pieces of FLUDD to enhance the gameplay. And honestly, as a teen, it was just an elite platformer. It's a specific reason why it's here at 13. Number 11. This might be the most underrated on this list to me. This is definitely the most underrated game on this list to me. A lot of people have not played this. A lot of people don't even play RPGs in its entirety. But I love playing games for the story, for the combat, for the characters, and the music. Those are all things that I look for in a game. The music, the story, the characters, and the gameplay. Like, if all of those hit on cylinders for me, you're 9 times out of 10 going to be on my list. This game specifically introduced like a 3-character storytelling system. In short, the 3 characters that are on the box art, you can play as any one of them and go through their own storylines, and all of their storylines merge. So you can play through one. Shoot, you can actually stop your game on one player, start another player's story, and you can just play it all the way through, pick back up on another where you left off. Each of them have different endings. Each of them have different gameplay mechanics. Each of them have different story arcs. In general, they all pick up different party members, have different access to other characters, and just know it's like a Goosebumps book, but for RPGs. Like, you choose your destiny, you choose the amount of fun you have. This was the best RPG experience as a child to me, outside of one other game on this list. Funny enough, this is the game that made me branch out and play other role-playing games. I came across this game at one of my uncle's houses, and he was a employee at GameStop at the time. He was an employee at GameStop at the time back in the day, and this game and one other game that's actually in my top 10 are the 2 games that I saw, and I was like, hey, can I borrow these? He was like, yeah, go ahead. That and Kung Fu Chaos. I don't know if y'all have ever played that game. That's pretty funny too. It was another party game similar to Shrek Super Slam, but yeah, he let me borrow Suikoden 3, Kung Fu Chaos, and one other game that's going to be on this list, and I just never turned back from role-playing games. We've made it to the top 10. If you haven't already, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, show your boy some love. Number 10. This is one of those games I was telling y'all about that I had with Paper Mario on the Nintendo 64. Mario Party 2. Let's talk. Honestly, the entire Mario Party franchise can be here in spirit, but this is my favorite. The characters, the costumes, the mini stories that were on each map, the mini games. Everything about this party game was the best. If you've ever played Mario Party or Mario Kart, well, let me rephrase that. If you've ever had friends, you've played Mario Party or Mario Kart. Mario Party 2 is the most fun I've had playing with friends on a board game. It solidifies itself right there at 10. Mario Party 3 is very good as well. Honestly, this might be the newest game on this list. Guilty Gear Strive. The characters, the art style, the music, the gameplay. Those are my 4 things, and they hit all of those boxes at a S+ rate. This is my favorite traditional fighting game ever. Favorite traditional fighting game ever. And this was my first introduction to the franchise. Crazy, it is my first introduction to the franchise. I never played any other game prior to this game's release. I played Strive and I was so interested in what the previous games played, like I downloaded all the other games. A week prior to this game's release, I did play XR because it was available on PlayStation for download. Played it and I got whooped like every time. So I just started playing the computer and I was like, it's no point at this point. I only had a week to practice. I just started playing the computer, just seeing what the characters look like, what their old outfits and lore and things like that were. It was an alright game. Those were alright games, but this one, art style, wow. Like it's like a cell shaded anime 3D 2D mix, 2.5D, I guess that's what they call it now. The gameplay mechanics went from a little less complicated. They have the Roman canceling still, they have the dust mechanic still. Honestly, learning this game was very easy. They streamlined this game, this series specifically, towards beginners, and I think they hit on all fronts. I feel like that's the reason this game sold the most out of any of the games in its franchise. If you haven't played this, I strongly recommend it. There would be a character for you. If you're into fighting games at all, there's a character in that game for you somewhere, especially with all of the DLC characters. Number 9. Number 8. The best kart racer to ever exist, Crash Team Racing. Let's talk. If you have not played this game, you missed out. You can still play it, but you missed out. It was just a different experience. Games like Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, they were hitting the streets. Mario Kart, hitting the streets. Crash Team Racing broke the kart racer. The single player experience, top experience of a kart racer for a single player experience ever. Multiplayer, extremely fun. The boss raids, extremely fun. The character selection, extremely fun. Just mixing all of the characters from lore, including the enemies, Neo Cortex, the map designs, the items. They stripped Crash from his game and just perfectly meshed it into a kart racer, and that's probably the best way I can explain it. If you didn't play that game with your friends back in the day, I don't know what to say. You just missed out on an experience. A lot of people have played Crash in general before, but Crash Team Racing, it was less difficult. Like, there were modes in single player, especially if you wanted to challenge yourself with the difficulty spikes, where, okay, racing against some of those villains were extremely hard. Compared to the difficulty of the actual Crash Bandicoot games, like, anybody could get into it. And no matter who you were on with, it was fun. It was a good time. Number 7. Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. This one's kinda self-explanatory. It's unfortunate that I couldn't put it in my top 5, but it had to be where it is. It just had to be where it is. In general, Zelda wasn't even one of my top ranking franchises. The only Zeldas that I played before that were a Game Boy title and the Wind Waker on the GameCube. GameCube was like one of my favorite consoles, if y'all don't know by now, but didn't beat either one actually, because I was like, okay, puzzles, no slice, you got it. After looking into the lore and watching Let's Plays of all the other games, I was invested. I was super invested into the actual series of Legend of Zelda, and I just never liked the games. Funny, because I'm an action adventure guy, so not being interested in it kinda hurt my heart. When this one got introduced, I looked at all the gameplay trailers. In depth, and just seeing the things that you could do in terms of this new version of Hyrule, and it being a sandbox, and you getting cryogenic powers and time-stopping powers, and you can literally be free to do anything you want while being immersed in the story. It might be my favorite Switch title. I strongly believe, yeah, after looking at that, that's my favorite Switch title. My favorite. I think my second would probably be maybe Mario Odyssey. Yeah, after looking at it, I don't think there's another Switch title on here. Yeah, Mario Odyssey would be my second favorite. And it's crazy because this was a launch title. I don't believe they've released a better game than this on the Switch since, outside of its sequel, which is funny enough, in that Mario game. But hey, to each his own. But this is the second best action adventure I've ever played. That's why it's solidified at 7. Alright, number 6. Let's run back PlayStation, man. I'm not gonna lie. In all honesty, we can put every game from the series here in spirit. Just like Mario Party 2, this is one of those that I had to like put here in spirit. The Dragon Ball Z Budokai games, peak fighting. Literally peak fighting, man. In a vacuum, you could probably say 1 is the worst and 1 has some mechanical issues, but 2 and 3 and the Tenkaichi games capitalized on everything that was wrong with these games. The combat, the characters, story, the music, the gameplay, it literally connects on all fronts. The multiplayer, the tournaments, the single player experience. Like, if you liked anime and you like video games, you play this game. There are no rules. There are no rules. That's one of those unspoken rules. If you wanted to play an anime fighter, you played Dragon Ball Z Budokai. That it was a given. You played that game, you had fun, you enjoyed your friends' company. That's literally all I have to say. Honestly, if you watch the anime or you played the game, then you know where I'm coming from. We don't need to discuss it any further. It's 6 as a franchise. I literally had to reflect on myself the entirety of yesterday to see if that top 5 I made was something that I'd be satisfied with. And honestly, I am. As a grown man who had an Xbox originally, this Master Chief Collection hit like crack in the 80s. After I built my PC, this was one of those games I downloaded, played it with my friends, and every time I play it, I just get a massive nostalgia wave. Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo 1, like Halo ODST, literally every one of those Halo games is fun. If you're a Halo enthusiast, you may say, oh, Halo 1 didn't have this, Halo 2 didn't have this, the campaign wasn't that good in this. I don't care. Every Halo game is fun with friends. Like some of those Halo games, we just raced. We got on Warthogs and Ghosts and we raced. And just shot rocket launchers sometimes. Sometimes we weren't even playing the traditional way. This game was just the fun with friends game. Literally the fun with friends game. There's one other game on here that's like that, but this is the fun with friends game. If you didn't have friends, I'm sorry, but this one is just, okay, if I have friends and they're coming over, we're playing Halo and one other game that's on this list. But that's why it's top 5. Number 4, Kingdom Hearts. I'm honestly going to list the franchise here, so regardless of how unnecessarily complicated the story is, when have you ever seen Disney characters and Final Fantasy characters collide? Nomura really elevated his game with this one. But my uncle let me hold that Kingdom Hearts 2, that Suikoden 3, and that Kung Fu Chaos. I came back a different person as a whole. I didn't think a game with Mickey Mouse and a original anime themed character or protagonist could make me feel the things that I did when I was a youth. The story, the music, the gameplay, those are one of the things that connect on all fronts. The music, I can't even play the music because of copyright, but y'all know where I'm going. I don't want to sing at the top of my lungs, but you know exactly what song I would sing if I had the capability. But regardless, this whole series is amazing. Like, grown people such as myself waited over 10 years for that sequel to come out, and we're getting another one. We're getting another game. There's a reason it has 4 installments and it's spanning over the course of 20 plus years. That's all I gotta say. There's a reason that the game is so good. 3 had a very good climax. However, the fact that it was so convoluted, I feel it's the reason that they're making another one. They need to conclude on a note worthy of everyone's approval. But number 4, Keyblades, the character designs, just everything, man. I could go on about that game for days and hours, but look, it solidified at number 4 for me. For the same reasons, I'm going to be putting Final Fantasy VII Remake here. I've played Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy X-2, Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy 15, and Final Fantasy 16. I did not play the original Final Fantasy VII. This game is the best action adventure game I have ever played in my entire life. Easily the best action adventure game I've ever played in my entire life. The craziest part about that to me is because this game single-handedly made me lose enjoyment for Final Fantasy 16. I know that's a weird statement to make, but Final Fantasy VII had, if I'm not mistaken, 4 playable characters: Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, and Barret. Those were the only 4 playable characters. And I didn't feel like I was missing anything. At no point since the beginning of that game to the end of that game did I feel I was missing anything. I was baffled. I was baffled at how good the game looked in its entirety. I've never seen a RPG look that good. Look, I've played that Spider-Man game. Well, damn near every Spider-Man game for the most part. I've played God of War. Neither one of those are on this list. Yeah, neither one of those are on this list. I've played those games and they're not there. I've played The Witcher. I've played Skyrim. Like none of those games hit like that for me. This one literally hit on all cylinders. I don't know if I'm just an anime guy, but the characters, the story, the music, the gameplay, the skill trees, the ability to put in materia to upgrade your abilities, the bosses. Literally everything about that game is a S. If there was a tier list and it would be S to F, everything was an S. Like nothing missed at all when it came to Final Fantasy VII Remake. And it's crazy because even after my introduction to the role-playing game series with Kingdom Hearts 2 and Suikoden 3, like this one just broke every single barrier. Like if every game was like Final Fantasy VII Remake, if every action adventure game was like Final Fantasy VII Remake, I would just have a top 25 of Final Fantasy VII remakes. Number 2, Smash. Look, man, you've ever been a child, you've ever been a teen, you've ever been an adult, you've ever been elderly, they have at least heard of Super Smash Bros., or they have at least heard of one of the icons that are represented in that game. This game broke barriers, it broke genres, it defined the party fighter. Whenever a party fighter comes out, Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl, Multiverses, Rivals of Aether, whenever any single party fighter comes out, it's compared to Smash Brothers. It broke the barrier, it broke the genre, it introduced characters that everybody loved, like the amount of items that are references to individual games, the amount of, and I'm considering this as a franchise here. Like this is one that I have to break the rules for. My favorite of them would probably be Ultimate in terms of gameplay, but in terms of the most fun I've had playing a Smash Brothers, it would be Smash 64. This one was my melee. This is my GOAT. 64 is my GOAT. But when it went to Ultimate and literally just started, you get a character, you get a character, you get a character, and dropped like 70 plus fighters, I lost my mind. I lost my mind. And it's super funny because my top 4 is actually cohesive. They all live in Smash. My top 4 live in Smash Brothers. I can literally recall like 24-hour Smash Brothers sessions. Pause. I've played this game one time for 48 hours straight. 99 stock battles. I'm curious. Let me know in the comments if you ever gone through a 99 stock Smash Brothers battle where you put 99 lives on your character, you play against 4 other people, and you have 99 lives. Let me know if y'all have ever done that in the comments. That was me. I was playing 99 stock matches, special matches where you have 999 damage and just and just kill each other with one punch. Man, all I can say, man, it's just a nostalgia wave that hits you when it comes to Smash Brothers. There's really no other game like it. It broke barriers. The characters that actually accumulated into that game should not have happened. The characters that are in that game together should not have happened. And it will never happen again. What Masahiro Sakurai did for that game, it will never happen again. That's something that will never happen again. And let me just go ahead and go into my number 1. My favorite game of all time, Persona 5 Royal. It's crazy because I know everybody's looking at me funny right now on the other side of that screen. They're like, Smash and Persona. Look, what's understood doesn't need to be explained, but I feel like I need to explain myself. Like, I feel like if I said all of those games in my previous 25 and then I get to an anime RPG turn-based game, that's your favorite game of all time? Yes. Yes. Never played a Persona game before it. Never played a Persona game before Persona 5 Royal. And then after I played Persona 5 Royal, I went back and played every single Persona game. And a few Shin Megami Tensei games. This game is essentially, for those that want a quick gist, Pokemon but with shadows and demons. That's the short gist. You take these rebellious teens. The Persona franchise is a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei franchise, which is basically shadow Pokemonsters. You get a bunch of rebellious teens going up against society and taking down its corrupt leaders. That's what you're doing for the most part. You're taking down society's corrupt individuals by giving them a change of heart. Similar vibes to Final Fantasy VII Remake, but turn-based. The art style, best art style in any game ever created. The menus, the music. This is the only game that I have video game music to in an actual Apple Music playlist. I'm a music guy. This is the only game that I have actual video game music to in my Apple Music playlist. And I actually have one Sonic song. So Sega, they did good. Sega, they have an elite music production team. This is also a Sega game, Atlas specifically. They're a company within Sega, but this game I've put over 400 hours into, which is crazy to say. Over 400 hours into a video game is insane. Looking back on it, just playing through it, the art style, the stylish nature, the complexity of the turn-based mechanics, the character lore, and it's honestly one game. It's one game with 50 different storylines. I guess it's the same reason why people love Baldur's Gate. You can make anything and take a bunch of different storylines. Or Mass Effect, people love Mass Effect for that same reason. It's one game, you're a silent protagonist. Every choice that you make, every dialogue option that you make changes the perspective of the game. It changes your internal skills that you get. It changes the abilities that the people that you confide and get confidants, the people around you, what they are able to do, how they treat you. It's literally an unreal experience. This is one of the few games I've cried on. I don't cry a lot. Look, I don't cry a lot, but like when things get emotional, voice actors are doing their job. They're making you hate the character that you're going up against. Like you feel away. The level grinding was not bad. I will say a lot of people don't like, especially in the Persona franchise, a lot of people are not fond of mementos. Mementos is a place within the game where you have to do a lot of level grinding, just to level up your character so that you can actually progress through the story. But that's the point of a role-playing game. You have to level up your character so that you can actually progress through the story. Just everything about it, like the entire series in general, is literally about how you grow as a person. So the way you play through this game, like, in a sense, it shows you who you are as a person over the course of this game. Like, it pulls all emotions, tests all emotions. It makes you question what character traits you possess as an individual. It makes you think about other real life situations and aspects and how you can actually be better as a person. In general, it's my number one because, like I stated before we started the list, these are games that I've had the most fun playing, the games that I've spent the most time on, and the games that shaped me as a person. Without Smash Brothers, I wouldn't have friends. Without Persona 5 Royal, I wouldn't be who I am in general as an individual. And a lot of these other games on this list, I discussed in detail, for the most part at least, on how I felt about every last one of those games and why each of those has a special place in my heart. But Persona 5 Royal really just took the cake, and you never saw it coming. Yeah, again, that was my top 25 games of all time list. So yeah, if you haven't already, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment in the comment section on what games y'all would take out of my list, even though y'all shouldn't be, or what games y'all would put in your personal list. I do want to hear your opinions voiced. I like all of your comments and I respond to all of your comments too. So if that's something you're interested in, y'all already know what to do. Again, I appreciate everybody that stuck around till the end of the video. Y'all are helping my channel grow. Leaving a comment will help get us up in the algorithm, but we're almost at 200 subscribers, baby. 250 is the next step. So again, appreciate y'all for sticking around. Stick around to the end of the video if you want 2 other videos. And yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Till next time, peace.